Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own.
Not your average nigga, I'm a god out the hood. They can't downplay me, I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. You know they see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Nah. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Yeah. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we were slaves? What? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I was chosen by that man, you know y'all just been running game. The nerve of you acting like...
What's going on, family? This is your brother King Cam, host of Shifting the Culture podcast, and tonight we are going to be talking about exposing the war against Islam, family. Exposing the war against Islam. I need everybody that's tuning in on all of the social media platforms. What I need for you to do is I need you to like, share, subscribe, and comment. I need you to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Shout out to the Twitter family. I need you to retweet. Give your brother a retweet. And also, man, shout out to the Facebook family. I need you to share. I need you to comment, engage. Shout out to the YouTube family. I need you to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell, stay notified each and every time that we drop a video, as well as become a new subscriber to our channel. We're growing, we're trying to build, and we need all of the support from the fam. Let me know in the comment section what city and state that you're tuning in from, family. Let me know in the comment section what city and state you are tuning in from. All right. So as you know, each and every Tuesday, we here at Shifting the Culture podcast. Want to get some of these house cleaning rules out the way. Shout out to Supreme Spring Water. Shout out to Supreme Spring Water. Right here out of the southern region, Student Minister Abdul Sharif Muhammad. This right here is healthy, live healthy, live healthy, drink healthy, official spring water right here. Now I know y'all drinking Fiji and essential water and all that kind of stuff, but this water right here has no fluoride, has a pH of 7.8, right? 7.8 tested, and it is English mountain spring water, fresh from Tennessee. It's the only ingredient that's in here. There's no reverse osmosis. There's no fluoride. There's none of that in this water right here. So you want to get this black-owned water company right here, Supreme Spring Water. Make sure you tap in. All right? So, man, we also want to say rest in peace to Fat Man Scoop. Rest in peace to Fat Man Scoop, family. Our brother passed away a couple of days ago, collapsed on stage as he was performing. And unfortunately, he passed away. So, I'm pretty sure growing up in the 90s, you can remember hearing Fat Man Scoop's voice on many iconic records with Missy Elliott and, Sierra and Mariah Carey. And the list goes on and on and on about the iconic records that you heard Fat Man Scoop on. So, man, salute to him, man, all of his accomplishments, man. And we definitely keeping the family in prayers. And, man, it's just a shock for real. Honestly, it's really a shock to see, a brother that was so vibrant, so energetic, was bringing everything he had every time he hit the stage, to collapse during a performance like that and not make it out of it, family. So, man, we definitely keeping Fat Man Scoop family in prayer. Man, that was definitely a hard pill to swallow. All right, so before we get into it, though, I want to talk about Boosie and Rollo real quick because I see them going back and forth online, and I really don't know what the particulars are. Somebody might be able to help me out in the comment section as far as the particulars are, but anytime we as black men bring disagreements to the internet, especially people that got powerful platforms like Boosie, like Rollo, you know, you influence and you can create an atmosphere that can spill over from social media into the streets, especially for people like them, brothers like them that have so much influence in the streets. So what I would say about that is that we should always strive to handle our disagreements with our brothers, with our family in private. You know, whatever issues Rollo had with Boosie, man, don't go on the internet and then saying some of the things that you saying on the internet, bro. As I commented on Rollo post today, is buzzwords for social media. Things that's going to make you hot, that's going to flag your account, that's going to have them people, if they not already monitoring you, going to be monitoring you. And they can take the issue that you have with your brother and they can rope you into some type of conspiracy that could take you out the way and Boosie out the way. Remember, both of y'all had situations. Both of y'all had cases, you know, and you was able to come out of it, able to come back home, able to get back to what you love doing, which is making music. But don't get these people any way in to try to rope you into anything and to take you away from feeding your family and being a positive influence to the streets that both of you brothers are utilizing music as a platform, but doing some of the things that you do in the community as well. So we have to, you know, take them little petty disagreements and stuff, take that offline. We shouldn't be posting posts and, you know, sending back Instagram posts and videos and all that kind of stuff, because that's what the enemy trying to do, for sure. All right, so listen. Exposing the war against Islam. Now, we want to get into this, and I'm pretty sure you've heard me read from this book before. And you know, we want to get into it again tonight, because what I really like about this book, and I've been reading it for so long, is it goes into all of the different mechanisms that's been used to keep the Western world, specifically black people, away from the healing power of Islam. From the healing power of Islam. So, you know, man, it breaks down the difference between Islam and Arab culture. It breaks down how the government has removed some of the Islamic influence in Western history. I mean, down to the textbooks, where there's been laws and different things that have taken place in different states to remove the Islamic contribution to the Western civilization. The way that 9/11, that's coming up, the way that it was used as a tool, as a way to frame the context of what Islam is and who Muslims are in the Western world to the American people, as a way to go into Muslim countries and overthrow regimes, as a way to go into Muslim countries looking for and pillaging for the resources, as a way to go into Muslim countries and to take that which you desire, all while back home, back at the ranch, you are putting out propaganda and contextualizing and framing it in a way that makes everybody in the West hate Islam and fear Muslims. So that's one of the beautiful things about this book, is that it exposes that whole thing. Well, you might say, why? Why would they want to do something like that? Well, I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why right here. Because Islam goes against every principle laid forth in the Western world. I'm going to say that again. Islam goes against every principle, founding principle, that was laid down here in the West. All right? And here's an example of that. On page 154 of the book, it says, combating the poison of white supremacy. As the historical accounts have shown, Islam uplifts who adhere to its tenets. Therein lies a huge conflict between America paradigm and the principles of Islam. America is a country that was founded and presently operated on the genocidal killing of the Native American Indians, the dehumanizing chattel enslavement of black people, and the continuous exploitation of the ignorant masses. There is no quantitative or qualitative comparison of the dehumanization process that America's ruling class has done to the occupants of this land. This global ignominy did not end with false treaties or signed papers. Rather, its poison continued through more sophisticated forms and degrees, slave codes, Jim Crow laws, de facto discrimination, and other less discussed realities, such as the mass poisoning of millions through ongoing chemical and biological warfare. An entire social, political, educational, financial, and religious construct based on such a paradigm cannot coexist with the aims of Islam. Though the righteousness of Judeo-Christian religion is widely evangelized in America, the country is actually constructed upon a measurably atrocious foundation. Hundreds of millions of lives lost and harmed over the span of a few hundred years makes America's ongoing atrocities incomparable. So, what we learning is that even though America has situated herself as a Judeo-Christian nation and society, as it says, is highly evangelized in America, the country is actually constructed upon a measurably atrocious foundation. So how could a country be founded on atrocities such as the murder of the Native American Indians and the enslavement of black people in chattel slavery, but yet confess to believe in God? How do the two coincide? How do they go hand in hand with one another? Very important. And I feel like, listen, what I need everybody to do is I need us to like and share and to engage, because what's happening is I don't think we are broadcasting live on all platforms. It don't look like it. From what I'm seeing, doesn't look like we broadcasting live on all platforms. So I'm just looking at my phone real quick so I can verify that. But it does not. Okay, so we do. Okay, we live over there, bam. Let me see if we live over here. Okay, we live over here. Okay, cool. All right, just wanted to make sure. Let me do this, bam, and do this, bam. Hold on, family. Gotta go ahead and promote your own stuff around here. All right, so bam, that's probably not gonna get shared in the group, but hey, it is worth a try. All right, boom. So we put that in there. So I'm just sharing this out to some different areas on Facebook so that we can increase the engagement real quick. Bam, we're gonna do that, and I want y'all to do the same, man. Share this out, shoot a link out, text it out to somebody you know. Bam. All right. Okay, that's one. Boom, that's one. All right, cool. We'll see. Might have got kicked back, but hey, it is what it is. Yep. Okay. I figured that was gonna happen. But boom. All right, cool. So now that we shared that out, what I need you to do, like I said, family, is go ahead and like, share, subscribe, comment. Let's engage. So as I mentioned, the founding principles of America. We know that the founding principles of America were built on the backs of the Native American Indians as well as enslaved black people, enslaved Africans. We know that to be a fact. So how could a nation that enslaved, oppressed a whole people, slaughtered a whole people, also be a Judeo-Christian nation, claiming Jesus and claiming to be followers of Christ and believers in God? Answer that question. Answer that question. Answer that question. While you thinking about that, it talks about the fact that after chattel slavery, it wasn't like there was a signed treaty, reparations was given out, the repair and the restoration of black people in America. That process started taking place, and you started to see us move forward in history. No, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. When there was the ending of chattel slavery, quote unquote, in 1865, or the Emancipation Proclamation through Abraham Lincoln, what they did was they never got rid of the oppression. What they did was they just changed how it looked. So instead of the physical slavery with the shackles and the chains, what they did now was they went into more sophisticated forms and degrees. They went to more sophisticated forms and degrees like slave codes, Jim Crow laws, de facto discrimination, right? And other less realities, such as the mass poisoning of millions through continued chemical and biological warfare. Man, if you knew about the biological and chemical warfare that's taking place, if you knew about the biological warfare and the chemicals that's taken and the chemical warfare that's taking place against you and I, these things are the subtle ways that they continue the oppression and slavery of a people. That's exactly how they continue to do so. So let me continue. All right. So hold on for a second, y'all. Let me see something real quick. I need to put. All right, family. So this is what we have going on. All right. And this is why we got to expose the war against Islam. Because all of the things that we just talked about, we mentioned the chemical and biological warfare. We talked about slave codes, Jim Crow, the de facto discrimination. All of those things are actually remedied under the tenets of Islam. There's no usury. There's no exploitation under the righteous tenets of Islam. Not Islam through the lens of Arabs and white supremacy. I'm talking about pure Islam. There's no discrimination. There's no exploitation. There's no usury. None of that stuff is taking place. So it says that an entire social, political, educational, financial, and religious construct based on such a paradigm cannot coexist with the aims of Islam. Though the righteousness of Judeo-Christian religions is widely evangelized in America, the country is actually constructed upon a measurably atrocious foundation. And talks about all of the people who was killed in America just in these few hundred years. You understand? When we came to the shores of America, it was only 460 plus years ago. When we came to the shores of America, they were just getting started when we came over here. And I'm talking about the European American or the Caucasian American rather, in building his new nation, starting with the 13 colonies. Not that there was not an America that already existed, because we know through history there were already people here. There were already tribes of people here. You already had the Native Indians who were here all through North America and through South America. They already had tribes here. So people was already here. So they found people when they got here. But what they did was they eliminated those people. They genocided those people and said, listen, we're going to do our thing over here. So we're going to make this our nation. So that was only 460 plus years ago that they decided that they was going to do this. And in those 400 years, family, there have been millions, hundreds of millions of lives lost as America has built her quote unquote nation. Right? And they have the nerve to call it the land of the free and the home of the brave. The land of the free, but you got slaves, and in the home of the brave, but you killed the people who were already on the land before you got here. That's crazy work. But anyway, so it says to combat America's immoral paradigm of slavery, discrimination, and murder, Elijah Muhammad offered Islam as the solution to remedy these ills, proclaiming it dignifies the black man and gives us the desire to be clean internally and externally, and for the first time to have a sense of dignity. Muhammad didn't just talk. His very existence and work proved this to be true. For a man who only had a third grade education to become a Reader's Digest, as Reader's Digest puts it, the most powerful black man in America, who reformed some of the worst outcasts and criminals of society into the most organized, disciplined group of blacks witnessed in the U.S., is a marvel that has yet to be matched. Muhammad credits this success to Allah's intervention in human affairs, the God who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad. This assertion shouldn't remain overlooked and ignored by those who attempt to critique the inexplicable successes of the Nation of Islam. So what's happened? Let me break it down. So what's happening is you have this country who is the land of filth, oppression, and debauchery. This is just a fact. This is not hate. This is just a fact. When we look at the society of people, when we look at the low vibration, when we look at the degradation that takes place, the abuse of women, the abuse of children, the drug use, the obesity, the poor food, the lackluster educational system, all of those things that exist here in America. And then you take a black man from Sandersville, Georgia, who only had a third grade education, but was introduced to something called Islam. And introduced to something called Islam that helped take him from a black sharecropper in Sandersville, Georgia, the son of a Baptist preacher, to become, as Reader's Digest calls him, the most powerful black man in America. And then took criminals, took the bottom rail, took the despised, took the oppressed, and then turned them into the most disciplined group of black people that America has ever witnessed. That's something that you need to look into, ladies and gentlemen. That's something that you should look into, because up until that point, you hadn't seen much of a change in the low and the downtrodden and the despised and the thrown away of black people. Now, before the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, did you have successful black people, successful black entrepreneurs? Absolutely. You definitely did. But you did not see a mass movement of black people who were in one condition, a very, 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 very depressing condition. You talking about criminals now. You're talking about people who have committed crimes, been to prison, been to jail, no job, unproductive, not taking care of their responsibilities. And now they have become that. They become productive human beings. They become productive people in society. So much so, one of the biggest ones was Brother Minister Malcolm X. He only had an 8th grade education, had a criminal background. And if you was to try to place him in a church as a pastor of a church, the church wouldn't have accepted Minister Malcolm because Minister Malcolm's background as a criminal, had a record and had spent time in prison. So some of the esteemed black organizations would not have accepted Minister Malcolm, but the Nation of Islam did. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad did, and then he took him and he taught him. This is where the power of the teaching shows forth in the human transformation, because he taught Brother Malcolm. And then he taught Brother Malcolm the teachings, taught him Islam, and then Malcolm took what he knew of Islam, and then he started adding on what he knew of history and what he knew, and deepened his study of scripture, of the prophecies. And then Malcolm became extremely disciplined. Malcolm became a soldier. Malcolm became, at that time, probably the second most powerful black man in America, next to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, all from applying the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, all by applying Islam as taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's just a fact. And you don't have to agree. This is just real talk. This is written in your history books. This is written in Malcolm's autobiography. This is put in all the documentaries they like to ram down our throats about Malcolm X. It's all there. You don't have Malcolm X without Islam as taught by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It don't exist. He don't exist. He don't exist, family. So what am I saying? I'm saying that Brother Malcolm is an example. Muhammad Ali. Didn't nobody know who Muhammad Ali was before he became Muhammad Ali? Now, he was Cassius Clay. Man, he was an up-and-coming boxer, but he didn't become the greatest in the world until he became Muhammad Ali. He wasn't received all around the world until he became Muhammad Ali. See, when you become Muhammad, which means one who is worthy of praise or one who's praised much, one of the attributes of Allah is Muhammad. Jesus, Muhammad, one who's praised much, one who's worthy of praise. Why do you mention Jesus, Brother King Cam? Isn't Jesus worthy of praise? Isn't Jesus one who we praise much? Okay, then. Jesus is Muhammad. So you don't get that type of admiration until you become Muhammad. You don't become Muhammad until you submit to the will of Allah. And as the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, accept your own and be yourself, which is a righteous Muslim. And you submit to the teachings. Muhammad Ali submitted to the teachings. When Muhammad Ali or Cassius Clay at the time submitted to the teachings, then you started to see him ascending. When his discipline increased, you started to see him ascending. You started to see him winning. It was so much so, look at the power of the God that was backing Muhammad Ali. It was so much so that he could predict a fight. You didn't hear me. The God was showing forth his power through Muhammad Ali, so much so that Muhammad Ali could predict what was going to happen in the fight. Because his faith in Allah, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, was so strong that he could predict what was going to happen in the fight. And Allah would back him and make it happen. Just showing forth your power, his power. Those are just small examples of what happened when you subscribe to the teachings. I didn't say join the mosque. What's going on, Brother Bam? I didn't say join the mosque. I know y'all heard, when you heard submit to the teachings, you heard also join the mosque. Sometimes I'll say one thing and you hear another thing. That's how it happened. A lot of times the sisters famous for this. You say one thing, they hear a totally different thing. That's how the sisters do. Professionals at that. But I didn't say join the mosque. I said submit to the teachings, meaning submitting to the guidance from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in our midst today. Because I know. Well, we subscribe to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad isn't among us today. But the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad has direct contact with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So if you submit and follow the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, then you submit and follow his chief student, the mouthpiece of Allah in our midst today, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. That's just real talk. This is the power of Islam. And this is why there's a war against Islam, because if Islam was allowed to be free, if the Nation of Islam, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, was free to teach unhindered and to go after his people and ultimately all of humanity, then all of the ills that affect the people today will go away. You will be able to solve all of your problems if you apply Islam to your problems. This is why the teachings say, the lessons say that Islam is mathematics and mathematics is Islam. Well, what's in mathematics? Problems. What is also in mathematics? Solutions. So if you got problems and solutions, and if Islam is mathematics and mathematics is Islam, and when God came, he came to make a nation of gods, not followers. Then he came to make a nation of problem solvers. So Islam solves problems. And if you apply your Islam or your mathematical equation or your mathematical theology, let's get the language right, that the lessons say, then you'll be able to solve each and every one of your problems. That's just real. That's just real. But the enemy don't want you solving your problems because now you put them out of business. When we solve the problem of crime, there's no need for jails. When we solve the problem of health issues and poor eating habits, there's no need for medication, big pharma, vaccines. There's no need for none of that. There's no need for hospitals necessarily. Huh? When you solve the economic problem, then there's no need for government welfare. See, when you solve the economic issue, and when you solve the educational issue, hey, college is a beautiful thing, but people won't be going in debt behind it. When you have a superior knowledge that's being taught to them, now they're able to go in every field of influence, every sphere of influence, every field of endeavor and industry, and become supreme in that industry and be able to make something for themselves and be able to become wealthy and financially stable. The lessons teach us that the God promised us money, good homes, luxury, friendship, and all walk of life. But you got to put the work in. You just don't die and wake up and then you in this place that got pearly white gates and golden streets. That's why we can't get to the business of building and doing for self, because we were sold the pipe dream. And we've been smoking on that pipe from then until now, thinking that heaven is something that we just gonna walk into that's already pre-built. When the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us you're gonna have to work in heaven, brother. There's no heaven without work. So get that fantasy out of your mind. But the war against Islam, that's why we got to expose it today, because it is the exact reason why the power of Islam and the ability to transform human life is the exact reason why they had to demonize it. That's why they had to make you believe that all Muslims was terrorists. They had to make you believe that all Muslims were connected to some type of, terrorist group or some insurgent, groups in these radicalized mindsets. Huh? That's what they had to make us believe. So the war. So Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that Islam, it dignifies the black man and gives us the desire to be clean internally and externally, and for the first time to have a sense of dignity. See, so once you submit, then you start cleaning yourself up. You stop giving all your money to the liquor store because you don't want to drink Henny, Douce, 20 grand, you know what I'm saying? Hypnotic, Patron, Casamigo. You don't want to drink none of that no more. So now you saving money because you ain't spending it all on these overpriced shots in the club. You ain't spending it on these big bottles of liquor in the liquor store. You're not buying liquor on the 4th of July, on Memorial Day, on Labor Day, on any other holiday or opportunity to celebrate your birthday. You ain't spending out money on that. So now you got more money in your pocket. Now you can invest more. You can invest more in yourself. You can purchase real estate. You can purchase a course. You can become better as a human being. You can become a better father, a better brother, a better husband, a better wife, a better sister. You can become all those things because you got some more money in your pocket. You can invest in yourself. See, so when you got the desire to clean yourself up, you saving money. See how Islam now turns into economics? See, some of y'all thought it was just a religion. You thought we just showed up, prayed, said a few words, had a sermon on Sunday, and that was it. Throw in a Bible study or two on a Wednesday, and in Islam, you got Jummah prayer on Friday, and we just continuously going through this ritualistic thing. No, Islam is a lifestyle. It's beyond religion. Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that Islam is a world. Islam can create a whole world. And Islam is a world. If you understand. Hope you following me now. So, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad offered an alternative to the corrupt social construct by building an independent nation that follows the tenets of Allah instead of the detrimental creeds that have damaged his people. Even critics of the Nation of Islam bear witness to this work. And I quote, "Being a Muslim, Elijah Muhammad taught also meant exhibiting a high moral character, industrious, and independence. Hence, Muhammad advocated a strict code of ethical behavior, an economic program of self-help, and the rejection of white American national identity." Do you know I had somebody on Instagram today tell me because I was advocating that black people become self-sufficient and become industrious and independent of the Caucasian American, that I was pushing white nationalistic ideology. And they came to this conclusion because I mentioned the fact that prior to integration, black people had their own cities and towns that was ran exclusively by black people, that was governed exclusively by black people, and we was circulating the dollar. So we had money, but we had nowhere to spend it. We couldn't spend it with white people because of segregation. So we was forced to spend it with ourselves, which created a closed market where we would be able to circulate our dollar now. And that in and of itself created jobs, created opportunities, and created wealth. So as many people know about Tulsa, Oklahoma, it was over 600 businesses there. There were other towns in the West, in Oklahoma, obviously, in Kentucky, in Kansas, in Atlanta, in Florida, Rosewood, Auburn Avenue. So you had all of these different places coming up because now we understood the power of circulating our dollar. We understood the power of those who moved to an area with money and established businesses, and now they started to hire their own. And then when they hired their own, they created infrastructure. They created, a flow of money into the economy and created their own independent economy. Because with segregation, you wasn't able to spend your money with nobody else anyway. So you was forced to spend your money with your own. And look what we was able to do and how much we was able to accomplish and build. We had black-owned insurance companies. We had black-owned hospitals. We had black-owned banks. We had auto repair shops. We had a hotel. Now, fast forward past integration. We don't have no black-owned hotel. You stay at Marriott, Hilton, all these other hotels that's owned by Caucasians. You stay in a hotel. You got their credit card. You spend all the money with Ritz-Carlton, with the St. Regis, with the Four Seasons, getting presidential suites. You know what I'm saying? Like, you spending all the money with them. Now, just imagine if you had a black hotel you was spending presidential suite money with. Just think about what that would be able to do for us as a people. And now you able to get respect. But can't nobody respect you if you don't have your own. That's why the scriptures say God blesses a child that has his own. That applies to black people too. Not just children, but that applies to black people as a nation. God blesses a child who has his own. People respect you for having your own. The reason why black people are not respected because they don't have their own. You lay claim to what we built, but what the white man says is his. Did you build it? Yes. But is it yours? Do you have control over it? No. And that's because he was in power. So everything you built, he took and made it his own. So you got two options. You can either beg him for what he claimed is his, or you can build your own. Now, we've been begging him. We've been marching on Washington. We've been talking to policy and lawmakers and politicians about what's owed to us. We done ran down everything in our history that talks about how we built this country, how we built the Capitol, how we built the monuments, how we built the White House, how we built everything that you see standing in America. Why are we responsible for the railroad infrastructure? How are we responsible for everything that you see in America? We done laid that out. The white man is well aware of what took place. Number one, because he was there. Number two, because we done laid it out for him. And you think that has moved them one iota to do the right thing? Absolutely not. Because guess what? Every time you come to them talking about reparations and what you owe and what we know that you're supposed to give us, the first thing that come out their mouth is, well, let's do a study on it. Let's form a committee. I got you, black folks. We're going to form a committee. And then we're going to study what happened to y'all. And then from that study, we'll get the concrete facts. And then we can go from there. So put the committee together, get the study on, and then come holler at me. See, that's the benign neglect. Because they playing in our face with that. They are very well aware of what has taken place. And we have documented so well. You know, we got beautiful researchers and historians who have ran this stuff down, economists. I mean, down to the numbers. I got one of the books around here from the National Institute of Reparations. And it lays down how much money we owed and how much in quantitative numbers now was our slave labor was worth. Didn't it break down the value that lies within the soil in each of the 8 states in the South that most of black people were in during the time of slavery? So I got that book around here somewhere. See? Can't find it right this second, but yeah, man, that'll be a show for another day. We'll break down all the numbers. So we done did all that. Problem is they just ain't interested in doing the right thing. Because all of that work has been done. There's no need for no study. There's no need for no committee. Only thing that we need to do is really form like a leadership governing body type of thing that where, that's attached to an entity that can handle where they distribute once they give us the funds, then distribute it to us. That's about as much work we got to put in as far as that's concerned. All of the other stuff, the studying and the numbers, all that stuff been done already. The who, because it's not even just the U.S. government. Now listen up, reparationists. It's not just the U.S. government who owe us. You talking about multinational corporations that owe. Yeah, businesses, they owe. Because those businesses, those people who started those businesses, they own slaves. So Walmart got to pay. Other multinational corporations, they got to pay. Not just the U.S. government, but multinational corporations got to pay. Guess who else got to pay? These higher level of institutions of learning. Yeah. A lot of these highly esteemed colleges and universities, yeah, they have their root and foundation in chattel slavery, in the exploitation of black human beings. A lot of these colleges was founded by that, and they bring in millions of dollars a year. They got to pay. So we pinpointed the who, the what, the when, the how much. We done did all that work. All you got to do is cut the check, kind of the same way. Every time Zelensky need a couple dollars from Ukraine, he run over here, have a meeting with the president, and then the president just stroke the check. He don't talk to Zelensky about a study. The funds that are allocated to the Department of Defense. We don't have a study about the enemies of America and how much we should allocate to our defense. We don't have a committee or a study about that. You don't even consult the American people about that. These quote unquote enemies of democracy and all this kind of stuff that you claim exists. But we don't have no proof of it. We just know that whenever, you don't like somebody or you trying to impose democracy in somewhere you don't even have no business in, and then they fight you back, all of a sudden they become an enemy to democracy. Even though you got U.S. bases in all of these countries, and you got warships strategically placed in the Atlantic Ocean, in the Pacific Ocean, in the Indian Ocean. Now, America don't have nothing going on. Americans don't have nothing going on over there in the Indian Ocean. But you over there with a battleship in the Indian Ocean. You over there. What's that about? So the defense budget, there's no committee for that. The only time there's a committee and a study that has to be done when it comes to black people receiving reparations. And we got to cut that out. We got to stop letting them play in our face with that. We got to stop ha-haing and kikiing every time this come up. We got to stop playing so much. We got to stop playing so much. We got to stop accepting all these pats on the back and thinking stuff is a game, joking and playing and photo opping and doing all that. No. Real talk, real business now, because people dying in the streets. People are dying from the lack of knowledge. People are dying because they're impoverished. People are dying because of chemical and biological warfare. We need the resources so that we can go ahead and get ourselves up out of this condition. We ain't asking you to get us out of the condition. We ask you to give us what you owe to our forefathers. Because what your forefathers sowed, you will reap if you don't do justice to your former slaves and their children. That's just real talk. So I know you say you ain't had no slaves. I know you say that was before you was born. But guess what? Your white face card still work. Guess what? When you go to the bank, you don't have no redlining going on. You don't have no subtle discrimination about credit scores. You can get approved for a loan ASAP. You don't have no issue going into business and going into different industries and being able to become successful. Hell, now immigrants is coming over now and having the same thing. They getting lines of credit. They getting down payment money for houses. They getting all this money funded into different areas to help support them so they can buy gas stations and buy hair stores and do all these different things. Yet and still black people who built the country haven't received anything. So justice is due to us. But if the government don't give us justice, we got to give ourselves justice. Because in the midst of everything that we talked about tonight, when you talk about the spending power of black people in America as a whole, as they claim to be, for us to be only 13% of the population, we still are the 9th richest nation on the planet Earth. With all that going on, with all the stuff that's happening in our community, we still spend money. The 9th richest nation. And you mean to tell me we can't funnel some of that money to our freedom, to our independence, to our liberation, to build our own cities and towns, to govern ourselves? We done been to school. We done been in debt to be lawyers, to be judges, to be prosecutors, to be city officials, to be business people, to be scientists and doctors and chemists. You mean to tell me that body of knowledge that you done already paid for, you can't put it towards building your own independent nation? If the answer is no, what's wrong with you? That's what we got to start asking these people that come before us that's not talking about liberation and freedom. What's wrong with you? These Negro leaders come before us and they talking about singing a song of integration. Talking about joining on to your enemy, holding hands with your enemy, apologizing to your enemy for killing you and killing your family members. I mean, now we got to start drawing a line. I know we supposed to have grace for our people, but we've had grace. There's been an extension of time, but now we got to start drawing the line because it's starting to get out of hand. As we just seen up in California a couple of days ago, where they was asking for these reparation bills to be put on the floor to be voted on. You literally had black politicians who were blocking the reparations. These individuals need to be called out by name so that they can be put on a blacklist and be excommunicated from our community. We can't continue. These people don't get grace. No, they have to be excommunicated. What they say on Twitter, they got to be ran down, meaning they got to be exposed all over the internet so people don't support them at all. We got to vote these people out of their position. Because at the end of the day, our tax dollars is going into the pockets of these individuals or going to the state, going to the city, and the states are putting this money aside for people who don't even live in this country. And they not even thinking about what they're going to do for the black man and woman. They're not even thinking about what they're going to do for the black man and woman. After we done fought, bled, and died, fought in wars, built the country, picked cotton, built your capitals, built your statues, built everything for you. Think about that. So if the government isn't going to give us justice, then we should take justice into our own hands. I don't even know how we got on this subject. We talking about exposing Islam, exposing the war against Islam. The thing about it, though, is the way we get down this road is because Islam is what gives you the fearlessness to even talk like how I'm talking. And the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the standard, is the measurement, is the criterion for a brother like me to even say what I'm saying, because like I told you before, all these other quote unquote leaders ain't talking like this. They study Moses, but they ain't quoting Moses. Because if they quoted him, it'd say, let my people go. Huh? But they ain't quoting Moses. They study him, they know about him, but they ain't quoting him. They're not following the footsteps in the Exodus. They're not talking about that. They talking integration. And actually, if they a pastor or a preacher, what they talking about is non-biblical. God was always in the business of separating the righteous from the wicked. And he always raises up a messenger or a prophet from among the oppressed people to help get them out of that condition and to help lead you on your exodus up out of that and away from those oppressive forces. First with the message that's going to get you mentally separated, and then there's a physical separation that take place. If your pastor, your preacher, your imam, they not dropping it like that, then they non-scriptural. And tell them Brother King Cam said it. You're non-scriptural. What you coming with is your own watered down, milk toast, weak bone ideology, white supremacist religion that your master sent you to give to us. And we ain't buying it no more. So you can pack that on up. As they say in the streets, you can move around. Go ahead. Move around with that. Because we ain't with that. We ain't with that. So exposing the war against Islam. This is why they don't want no Islam. That's why they don't want black men tapping in. That's why they don't want you following the minister, because you become too strong. Corporate America does not exalt alpha heterosexual black men. This is why you don't see them rising in corporate America. You see a lot of heterosexual alpha black men operating the trades. They ain't messing around with college too much and going into corporate America. They operating in the trades and they getting money in the trades. Why? Because in corporate America, they want you to be beta, homosexual, and a non-threatening Negro in order for you to be exalted. Now tell me I'm lying. In corporate America today, outside of being a woman or black woman, they want you to be a homosexual, beta, pliant, non-threatening Negro. And yeah, they'll go ahead and take you on up the totem pole then. You get all type of raises then. You get all type of promotions then. You become a CEO then. Boy, you mess around, be the CEO. Long as you those things, long as you beta, long as you pliant, long as you non-threatening, and you get a double pat on the back if you with the Rainbow Mafia. And there's no slight to our family. That's LGBTQ. But understand now, they as a group got power, got influence. So you can't just play in their face. See? So they go and they exalt their people. You one of them? Yeah, corporate America, they gonna honor that because they don't want no smoke. See, we as black people as a whole, we got to get like that. We got to get like that. But, alpha black men excommunicated out of arenas like that. Excommunicate, we pushed out because they don't want you in there riling up the slaves. They don't want you speaking out against injustices that you see. They don't want you standing up. See, that's the power of Islam. Give you discipline, give you strength, give you courage. They don't want any parts of that. So I'm closing right here with the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. He says, Elijah Muhammad in the book, Brother Ilya Rashad Muhammad says that Elijah Muhammad brought a teaching that clearly dignifies his people who had been the most psychologically traumatized by centuries of enslavement, rape, imperialism, colonialism, and torture. The result of following Islam, especially under his guidance, resulted in cleanliness, high civilization, and the seeking of knowledge and wisdom to magnify Allah's divine attributes. Just as the Holy Quran defines man as the vicegerent of God, vicegerent meaning one who stands in the place of God, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught that the original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. So listen, family, we'll come back next time and talk about that original man and talk about the God of the universe, the cream of the planet Earth, We'll come back and talk about that next time. But I just want us to understand. I want us to remember that's who we are. And I want us to be aware of what's going on. That's the purpose of shifting the culture, is to make you aware of what's going on. Things that you may not know of, we are making you aware so you can now make better decisions to move out, family. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I appreciate everybody for liking, sharing, subscribing. I appreciate everybody for commenting. We was able to get it up a little bit tonight, but it was a little slow, but it's all good. Those who it was intended to hear and tap in live were meant to be here, and we're here. And then those who gonna catch it on the replay. So, as always, family, we appreciate you coming through. Make sure that you subscribe to our text list at 888-294-2793. You can text the word STC Podcast, which stands for Shifting the Culture Podcast, to 888-294-2793. All right, that's how you get tapped in with our community, so you can stay updated and you can stay plugged in on exclusives. All right, family. Again, make sure you go ahead and get you some of this Supreme Spring Water, black-owned, black-operated, black water company. And as always, we want to circulate the dollar and make sure we stay tapped in. So with that being said, family, we're going to go ahead and roll out. I'll see you next week. Same black time, same black station. Peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own.
Not your average nigga, I'm a god out the hood. They can't downplay me. I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. You know they see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Nah. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Yeah. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we was slaves?